It's always nothing but fire. This time the Inferno is taking over the fucking world. Welcome to Everyone Who Does Music, where today we're looking at the 6th studio album from the resident goths of the metalcore Big Four, Motionless in White, called Scoring the End of the World. This band has constantly added little evolutionary elements to remain fresh throughout their discography, such as switching out constant heavy breakdowns and screamed lyrics for the occasional symphonic elements, which has only grown larger and more atmospheric as time went on. Without a doubt though, Motionless in White has remained a constant piece of the conversation in the scene for their ability to always be on top of their game, sort of akin to artists such as I Prevail or Falling in Reverse in the modern context. They produce music that sits firmly within its own universe while still being able to be easily compared for the sake of good conversation and good comparisons. From grandiose pieces like Another Life and Eternally Yours to modern day mosh pit starters such as Thoughts and Prayers and Loud (fuck it) parentheses. The Chris Motionless headed outfit has everything a metalcore fan could ever want. So what have they produced for their 6th outing? There's always been an underlying element of electronic and synth vibes induced feeling to Motionless in White's music. I don't know why I started there so much, holy shit. But I think this is the smoothest and best applied it's been since Reincarnate. As an example, take a look at early track Werewolf, which all but sheds the identity that Motionless in White has around them in exchange for a very 80s sounding beat and vocal delivery. The band, and especially Chris, noted in an interview with Apple Music that this is their shot at trying to create a truly iconic song by the band, and I can see it being one to be remembered for a long time here. Every piece of this song is crafted to perfection, essentially being a perfect song, and the fact that it manages to sound vastly different from your typical growly, angsty Motionless in White song, and still has the unmistakable vibe of the band. To become something totally opposite and yet strikingly familiar is a heavy task, and they completed it with the type of precision, big-time, vibe-heavy acts like music can only accomplish. A common theme throughout the album is the presence of companion songs, and the one I just talked about has one just a track later in Porcelain. Both songs serve as different perspectives and conversations with Chris Motionless's psyche, and this one focuses on a much more vulnerable element than the already emotionally evocative Werewolf. On the other hand, Werewolf was a representation of the side of himself that takes over in an uncontrollable manner, while the lyrics here seem to allude to more of a general idea with a bigger spotlight on the pure helplessness that comes along with this. Like I said, it's a companion piece, and the fact that they come right after each other is very good to the album structure. Moving on to one of the most explosive songs the band has ever put out, save for the always heavier than the usual crowd tracks like Abigail or earlier songs, Slaughterhouse provides the injection of pure fucking adrenaline that every MIW album always provides in full. I feel like this is the big drum showcase on the album, with Vinnie Morrow aiding the pure blood-soaked hate fest with appropriately big sounding percussions. This isn't to disregard the guest vocalist and powerhouse of this song, Knocked Loose's Brian Garris. I knew from the get-go a song featuring both him and Chris on vocals would be a force in equal power to recent scene-breaking heavy hitter Will Ramos, which, by the way, next Motionless in White album, Motionless in White, we need Chris and Will on a track together. The scene will fucking explode. Give it to us. But everything from the high-impact chorus to one of the best breakdowns of the entire year comes towards the end, and it makes this a legitimate contender for Song of the Year. Side note, pause, I wrote this back in fucking June, but it's still true about 2022. There's just something beautifully damn near demonic about the cut you up vocalization at the end that brings the track to its close, that takes you from a comfortable position to outright rage. Just like any album from the Pennsylvania outfit, every metalcore element is covered on this album, and the band has now firmly established themselves as one of the absolute masters of ballads and emotional pieces, along with songs like Eternally Yours, Another Life, and now the newest addition to this collection, Masterpiece. From the beautifully sad chorus to the thought-provoking verses, and of course the eventual burning up of the breakdown. This is also the song on the album where I feel the bass, courtesy of Justin Morrow, comes through the cleanest and overall instrumental presentation. Finally, I want to talk about the overall guitar work on this album, which feels the most balanced it has within the entire modern MIW era. That, of course, coming out in the album post-Reincarnate, with Ricky Olsen and Ryan Sitkowski, I probably fucked that up, I'm sorry, constantly putting their fingers to work in ways that fans can only dream of. Soon-to-be underrated tracks like Cause of Death and We Become the Night have everything in the guitar department that feels both big-time and true to their core upbringings, with a flow matched only by other metalcore heavyweights in their league. Really, every song is a chance for them to showcase their talents and show off, and no member of the band ever phones a performance in, but the guitar is my favorite part of this album, whereas it's usually the vocal display from Chris Motionless. Chris is in no way holding back, but this seems like the first album and a few albums from the band where the guitarists are just up front and center saying, yeah, look, let's go. I was iffy on this album from the get-go, because I very much enjoyed Cyberhex, but not nearly as much as I did past lead singles. So I initially had a moment of, oh, okay, shit, is this gonna be as good? Because I'm a fan of the scene. I worry. But with the release of the fiery Slaughterhouse, hopelessly distraught masterpiece, and rightfully eclectic title track, this album now sits firmly among the others from the band as an album with no skips, no weak points, just solid and continual bangers from start to finish. This is another example of the guys making a case for being the most consistent band in metalcore. So, for those reasons, Scoring the End of the World by Motionless in White gets an 8.5 out of 10. And that's a review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Have you listened to Motionless White before? Do you group them in with bands like Black Pearl Brides because they have face paint and you're like, oh, that's too edgy for me? Fuck you, give them a chance. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're staying hydrated. I will see you next time.